Hi guys, and welcome back to the Muse and Greg. Make sure you like and subscribe to stay across other great videos like this. This is now the third video in this mini series on diesel intake cleaning products. I had a lot of comments after those videos asking me to compare Liqui-Moly to other brand diesel intake cleaning products. So today we're going to do exactly that, comparing it to Penrite P26 diesel foaming intake cleaner. Now since the last test, this vehicle's done another 25,000 kilometres of towing through Queensland, Northern Territory, South Australia and now Western Australia. So there should be a decent amount of build-up in the manifold by now. Now, as an Aussie who's used Penrite products for many years, I'm really keen to see the results of this test. This is actually the first product I was looking to use when I did the first video, but I couldn't find it in retail stores, which is the reason I ended up using the Liqui-Moly product. But after doing some shopping around here in Perth, I ended up finding the Penrite product at Auto One in Cannington, who are Penrite specialists. Now, Auto One is an independent car parts business. The Cannington store employs serious car-minded people who really know their stuff, and all of their stuff were really helpful and knowledgeable while I was preparing this video. So if that type of experience is representative of other Auto One stores, I'd highly recommend supporting them if you see value in independent car parts retailers who speak your language. As usual, I paid for this product with my own money, but they did give me a small discount when they knew I was going to be using it for this video. So today we're going to do a number of tests to see how effectively each product can dissolve carbon build-up from this manifold. Once we're finished, I'll be doing a separate video on the installation of a ProVent 200 catch can, and down the track we'll see how effectively that prevents this build-up reoccurring. So make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss that one. So I've got the upper part of the manifold off the Pajero now. Let's take a look to see how clogged up it's gotten after 25,000 kilometres since the last clean. Well, you can certainly see it's black, but there's not a lot of build-up in here. I'll just run my finger along the bottom and you can see it's just a very thin layer of soot and oil. That's a good sign for the health of the rest of this manifold. So let's take a closer look at these products. The most obvious first thing about these products is the can size. The Liqui-Moly is a lot bigger. The Liqui-Moly contains 326 grams of product to Penrite's 100 grams, or 130 mils. So immediately the impression we get is that the Penrite needs to be a much more effective product if you get less of it. But what about price? Well, this might come as a shock. Liqui-Moly costs about $28 for a 324 gram can, which works out to around about $8.60 per 100 grams. But the 100 gram can of Penrite product isn't at $8.60, it's about $24. So the Penrite is 2.8 times more expensive by weight than the Liqui-Moly, which means it needs to work about 3 times better to be considered a comparable product. That's a tall order for a pretty small can of product. On the back, both products share pretty similar instructions. Have the engine already warm, remove the intake, rev the engine to around 2000 RPM, and then spray the product into the intake in short bursts. Let's get the testing underway and find out which product really is the best. First of all, we're going to spray a small amount of each product into a clear plastic cup. There we go. It's a little bit in the bottom. And now we'll do the same with the Penrite. You can see it's quite a different type of product. As I said, one is a foam, the other is a liquid. So we've got about the same amount of Liqui-Moly and Penrite. So let's now go and grab a sample. And we're just going to go scrape. Okay, so the stuff's been in there for only a minute or so, and you see already that the Liqui-Moly is already starting to go quite dark compared to the Penrite, which is still fairly clear. Alright, let's leave that now. And we'll come back in a little while and see how effective each of those products have been. Now I just thought of another test while I've been waiting. If you ever have to do a job like this, it is a filthy dirty job and your hands get absolutely disgusting, your clothes get disgusting. You want to make sure you've got plenty of rags on hand. But of course you also need to make sure you've got a solvent. And so what better solvent could you have than actually these two products? I'm going to go for this spot on the left hand with the Liqui-Moly, and I reckon I'll go my index finger on the right hand for the Penrite and just see how effective it is. So quick spray. Oh, straight away it was actually blasted it right off. So that worked really well. Almost completely cleaned it off. That's what's on the tissue. Let's now get another tissue, clean tissue, And try the same with the Penrite. So the index finger is ready to go. Oops, just missed. Okay. It takes a little bit of time to actually see how effective it is, because the foam covers it. It doesn't look like the skin's as clean underneath though. Okay, give that a wipe. It's actually done a reasonably good job as well. I don't think it's quite does it quite as easily as the Liqui-Moly though. Right, well, it's been 11 minutes. Let's have a look at how well it's gone. By the way, I said 10 minutes, 10 or 11 minutes. This stuff is normally sprayed on and is sucked straight into the engine, so it doesn't normally have anywhere near this long to work. Well, as you can see, the Liqui-Moly first. Liqui-Moly, the liquid is certainly dissolved a good amount of the deposit. You can see that the colour is fairly dark looking from the side, and looking from the top you can see that there's a pool of deposit on the ground on the bottom. Let's now check out the Penrite. Straight away the Penrite looks cleaner. This fluid looks cleaner, which suggests, as you would expect, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's done as good a job. If we maybe have a look from the bottom, look at that. It's hardly dissipated at all from the area, whereas if we were to check the Liqui-Moly, I'm trying not to shake this too much, it's a lot more spread. Okay, for our next test, we're now going to use these two products. We're going to use, again, keep Liqui-Moly on the left, L for Liqui-Moly, Penrite for the right, ha ha ha, very funny, but it actually works. Okay, here we go, this is Liqui-Moly, and a Penrite. Looks like there's more Penrite gone in there, but I think it's just this. And see, straight away, you can actually see the force of the Penrite, of the Liqui-Moly, blast the sludge away. The Penrite, well, yeah, it's a different nozzle. Perhaps it may be different. Alright, let's get on with our cleaning. Let's now do a spray after that to see how much of it's actually cleaned off. Done a lovely job. Clean it off neatly. Okay, and let's do the same with the Penrite on the right. In fact, now just to make doubly sure, we'll now fill it with the Penrite just so there's no contamination from the Liqui-Moly on that side. Good, and now spray. Well, I mean, you be the judge of that. Liqui-Moly, Penrite. Okay, no, so that has, well, it has actually, you do actually get through, but it's nowhere near as effective at wiping it off. You got to, the Liqui-Moly just took it off straight away. The Penrite, you sort of do this scrub and you sort of eventually get there, but it's nowhere near as clean as that, is it? Now, just one point about the Penrite. As I said, I've not been particularly impressed with it so far in terms of its comparison to Liqui-Moly, but it does actually still work. Okay, let's give it. Some hands are pretty filthy. And you can see it's actually done a reasonable job of dissolving all that. That's it. So the product does actually work. The thing is, it just doesn't work as well as the Liqui-Moly. And it's a thicker, filmier, oilier sort of substance, which doesn't tend to dissolve as well as a thinner solvent. Also, the Liqui-Moly has just got a lot more pressure in the can. When you go to squirt onto the manifold build-up, just simply the force behind the Liqui-Moly product actually helps to blast some of the build-up away, whereas the Penrite doesn't have the same pressure behind it. Now, I actually did another test a bit earlier, but it didn't show up very well on camera. But I drained out the solution and sprayed a bit more clean stuff into the cup with a lump of gunk in it and left it for another 15 minutes. We're now going to see how much of that original lump of soot and carbon is left undissolved after a second time round. So that's the solution we had before. And you see there is an improvement. We've got some more of that's been dissolved. There's a little bit just left down there in the corner. Let's now take a look at the Penrite. First impressions, actually take a look back here. Pretty much the same as before. A lot of the liquid is still clear, and a fair amount of the doesn't look like the material's done a lot. The solvent is certainly still dark, so it has done some work. Let's have a look at the sludge in the end. So we've got Liqui-Moly on the left, Penrite on the right. I think you'd have to say, by all measures, that the Penrite has not done as good a job as the Liqui-Moly. Also, just on the viscosity, Liqui-Moly on the left, Penrite on the right. You can see that the Liqui-Moly on the left is swishing right over to the top of the cup, whereas the Penrite on the right is staying more down the bottom. You can see that's a result of it being a lot thicker. The other thing to note is the spraying attachments. The Liqui-Moly comes with a 70cm flexible straw with a fine spraying head that allows you to get a long way down inside the manifold. The Penrite just comes with a 20cm semi-rigid open-ended straw like on a can of WD-40. So not only is the Penrite solution a lot thicker, harder to get running and doesn't get sprayed out as strongly, you also can't get as far down the manifold in the first place when you're spraying it, which means you're much less likely to properly clean the deeper parts of the manifold with the Penrite product. So what's the verdict? Well, this hasn't been a perfect test because we don't have two identical vehicles to do a side-by-side comparison of actually cleaning the manifolds. But with the different bench tests I've done to try to simulate different cleaning requirements, it shouldn't come as any surprise that I think Liqui-Moly Diesel Intake Decarb thoroughly outperforms Penrite P26 Diesel Foaming Intake Cleaner. And I'm disappointed it wasn't a closer competition. Liqui-Moly's product is simply far more effective at removing manifold deposits. It's a thinner solution that dissolves better and travels further. The longer straw means you can reach further into the manifold, and you get about 3 times as much product for almost the same price. The Penrite product does still work, but because it's a thicker, filmier solution, it seems more to sit on the surface of the deposits rather than penetrate them. So it needs a decent amount of scrubbing to get the best results, which you can't do inside a manifold. The straw's a lot shorter, which is a limitation for longer manifolds like the one on the Pajero, and finally you only get about 1/3 as much product for the price. The biggest problem I have with the Penrite product though is that its comparatively poor performance has made me question the blind trust I've had in Penrite to produce market-leading products. I've always bought Penrite products because I assumed they'd all be as good as I've heard their oils are, but now I'm going to consider other brands for additives, and I might even think twice about their oils. Frankly, I'm disappointed in Penrite for selling such a small and comparatively ineffective product when it's clearly possible to do a much better job for a lot less money. If this product's representative of the rest of their additives range, which is the assumption most people will make, then I think they either need to do additives properly and provide a range which reflects the quality they're known for, or get out of the additives market altogether and focus on what they reportedly do well, which is oil. So I hope that's been helpful, but I'd love to know what you think about the tests in this video, particularly if you've got any experience with either product. What do you think? Do you think I'm being too harsh on Penrite? Did you spot something I missed? Or do you have a different opinion? Let me know in the comments below and I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, please make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video, and I'll catch you next time.